Good morning and welcome to News Lounge. I'm Anna Fleetwood.
And I'm Miles Maguire. Good morning.
And today on our sports desk and our weather desk we have Connor Tobin. What have you got in store for us today, Connor?
Good morning, guys. Coming up in the sports wrap, we have the results of the Australian Brim Fishing Competition. And Miles, something to brighten up your Monday morning, the Australian Croquet Championship happening in Brisbane later this week.
Oh, excellent, Connor. I'm a big fan of croquet. Well, later in the show, we will also be taking a look at the schoolies festivities happening down on the Gold Coast, which is sure to be a very entertaining report.
That's right. Our resident funsters, Connor and Holly Fallon, who you see on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, headed down the coast to get in on the schoolies action. Connor, does that make you a toolie?
I don't know about that one, Anna, but it was certainly a great day to get in behind the scenes and see how the event works, but should be a good story.
Well, we'll see how they fared later in the program, but right now it's time for news with Rebecca Wilson. How are you today, Beck?
I'm great, thanks. I'm still reeling from this crazy weather over the weekend. Making news today, the Monday, 19th of November 2012. Brisbane saw some wild storms over the weekend, with severe weather warnings issued for much of southeast Queensland. Heavy rain, damaging winds and hail were seen across many parts of the city. More on that later. Brisbane Mayor Graham Quirk has acted quickly after the storms this weekend, announcing a free green waste disposal service to help residents clean up after severe hail, fall trees and power lines across southeast Queensland. SES crews have been working hard throughout the day and night to clean up, fortunately being able to report that none of their 170 calls for assistance was injury related. Embattled Queensland Arts Minister Ros Bates has been admitted to hospital with serious back injuries following a fall at her home. She will remain in hospital for up to a week and then on continued medical leave for the next 2 to 3 weeks while she recovers. The accident comes just 1 week after Miss Bates returned to work following 2 weeks off for a shoulder injury. It's been described as a victory for the little people as public servants won the right to change forced medical and psychiatric examinations in Queensland. These checks were often used as a means of forcing people with illness or disabilities out of their jobs. Their court appeal will now allow public servants to object to the inspections on the grounds of discrimination. According to a new poll, the coalition shows the best odds to win the federal election. Opposition leader Tony Abbott's reputation may be on the decline, but the findings suggest the party would win 53% of the vote. However, Prime Minister Julia Gillard won't show defeat just yet, as she maintains her 9-point lead as preferred Prime Minister on 91%. 50 Sri Lankan men who arrived on asylum seeker boats have been flown home from Christmas Islands. As the group did not make claims that triggered Australia's refugee obligations, the deportation aims to send a message that people who pay smugglers are risking their lives and throwing their money away. Since the government resumed offshore processing in August, over 380 men have been sent back to Sri Lanka. The Gold Coast has experienced a tame start to schoolie celebrations, with public nuisance offences and liquor infringement notices both down from last year. Stormy and humid weather is being credited to the unusually quiet start to the week, but Andy Gourley from the Red Frog Chaplaincy Network argued that the safety message might finally be getting through. He said parents are doing the right thing by not supplying large amounts of alcohol and providing lots of water and food. Queenslanders may continue to feel the sting from rising electricity prices. The state has been warned by the federal government that if electricity costs continue to be controlled by regulation rather than market forces, Queensland may be headed into a blackout. There's an argument that the Renewable Energy Scheme will add to these prices and will be monitored closely to avoid further increase. And some big business news for a business-based developer now. Last week, Consolidated Properties finalised a $50 million oil and gas project in the town of Roma. The development will enrich the region's resources, jumping on board with some of Australia's biggest oil and gas companies. Construction is set to begin next year. Queensland business has come under fire after the state's claim to being the smart state was actually not so smart. According to the Deloitte Technology Fast 50 Australia, which lists the top fast-growing technology companies in the country, Queensland's only managed to have 3 companies appear in the list. Sadly, no Queenslander was in the top 10, but popular Gold Coast-based surfwear company Surf Stitch placed at number 11. A 51-year-old woman has died after her scooter collided with a bus at Noosaville at 2:20 p.m. on Saturday. The woman was travelling through a roundabout when the incident happened. Police said the woman died at the scene. More blood has been spilled in the Gaza Strip, with Israeli airstrikes now killing 23 Palestinians. At least 9 of the victims were members of the same family, 5 of them children. This marks the bloodiest raid so far and comes during the midst of diplomatic efforts to broker a truce. The Palestinian casualty toll rises from 71 dead and 600 now injured. A new study has found almost half the people growing small quantities of cannabis in Australia use it for medicinal purposes. In the anonymous online survey, the National Drug Research Institute found almost half grew cannabis in their garden, but also in cupboards, parks and sheds. It's hoped the survey will give growers influence in cannabis policies, which differ from state to state. Long-time volunteer for the Neighbourhood Watch program, Betty Bourke, was presented with the Southern Region Community Award at the recent state conference. Ms Bourke has been a volunteer in the Dinmore-Ebbw Vale region since 1999. The group produce about 630 newsletters each month. The Brisbane International Film Festival is in full swing, with a range of documentaries, late-night thrillers and even animations for the whole family. The festival has been the launchpad for many popular titles over its 20-year history, a favourite this year being local director and producer Kathy Henkel's film Show Me the Magic, about the life of cinematographer Don McAlpine. Films will run at many cinemas around Brisbane until the 25th of November. For more information, head to biff.com.au. That's all for me now. I'll be back later in the program with a recap on those spectacular storms of the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Beck. And a small correction to the preferred Prime Minister polls. Unfortunately for the Prime Minister, she is polling as preferred Prime Minister on 51%, not 90%, which would be almost unheard of and certainly be the lead story. Those storms we did see at the top of the bulletin were certainly spectacular. So now we'll throw to Connor to find out what's happening in weather.
Thanks, guys. Well, fortunately, the worst of the storms are over and we can start the cleanup. Brisbane can expect a shower or two with light to moderate west to southwesterly winds today and a late change this afternoon. It will reach a warm of 31 degrees in the city and 30 on the Bayside. The Gold Coast may see a shower or two in the afternoon with a maximum temperature of 28. The Sunshine Coast will be mostly fine with a possible shower and a top of 30 degrees. After some early fog in the morning, Ipswich will be fine and mostly sunny, reaching a warm 34 degrees. Around the state, Cairns will see a shower or two with a top of 33, Townsville 32 with a shower and possible storm, Mackay a shower, possible storm and 31, a similar forecast for Rocky with a top of 34, Mount Isa will be fine and sunny, reaching 40 degrees. Capital cities, Sydney will see a shower or two with a max of 21, Melbourne will be mostly sunny and 23, Canberra will have a shower or two before clearing to a top of 19, Perth, sunny and 26. Adelaide, mostly sunny with a top of 30. Hobart will be partly cloudy with a max of 21. Darwin, a shower or storm with a top of 33. And that is all for the weather. It's certainly good to see that weather in Brisbane, at least, is looking better than it did on the weekend for the rest of the week.
Well, absolutely. And it's time now to go to a break, but please don't go away, because when we return, we'll be seeing what Connor and Holly got up to down at Schoolies. It's sure to be great. That in a few minutes. Welcome back to News Lounge. Well, it's that segment you've all been waiting for, where we chat about Schoolies 2012 and we have a look at what Connor and Holly got up to when they headed down the coast. How'd you go, Connor?
Guys, well, it took us a while to get down there, but we got there in the end, and it certainly was a very eye-opening day to see all the sort of planning that goes into this event that's sort of become such a massive part of the whole process in finishing school around Australia. So we spoke to, obviously, the founder of the Red Frogs, Andy, and he really was just stressing the importance of safety along, also was ambulance and other emergency services, so it's a good story.
Sounds great. Well, we'll take a look now at what Connor and Holly got up to while they were down at the coast.
It's that time of year again. Surfers Paradise will transform into Schoolies Central and cater for 30,000 excited school leavers from across the country over the next 2 weeks. On Friday morning, Schoolies organisers, emergency services and construction workers were still putting the finishing touches on surfers just hours ahead of the arrival of this year's Schoolies. Queensland Ambulance have set up a makeshift medical centre. It enables Queensland Ambulance to quickly and effectively deal with a range of medical issues during the week.
Okay, the treatment centre is predominantly set up so that we can treat the youth that are attending schoolies on a local level, so it allows us a quicker response time and also to do any medical procedures a lot quicker than we would if we had to respond from a neighbouring station.
Parents of schoolies can be rest assured their children are in safe hands and being looked after by the team of ambulance officers.
Just on the ground for the schoolies in this hub area alone, we have 16 paramedics in total, plus our normal operations, which will still be looking after the general community.
Each year, Queensland Ambulance provides medical assistance to hundreds of schoolies. This year will be no different.
We average about 800 and we've averaged that for about probably the last 3 years. So in saying that, a large majority of those numbers are those foot type injuries, the minor elements where they've been sort of walking around in a party atmosphere on the beach and stubbed their toes, cut their foot, so we deal with that as well. From 6 o'clock at night through until about 3 in the morning, we're fairly on the go, we're fairly constant responding to as I said, the community as well as the schoolies hub area.
The team don't just work in the ambulance centre. If needed, they also travel out into the wider community and provide assistance wherever needed.
Because we are in a community where there are high-rises and other people that live in the community, we still have a response to those clients or those community members to make sure that we look after their welfare if they require it.
Safety continues to be the highest priority for all emergency services across schoolies this year. They say common sense is a must. They'll treat anything from a stubbed toe to broken glass.
The ambulance treatment centre is set up into 3 areas. The first area is for those that are minor casualties, which are minor foot injuries or other elements. The middle section is set up as a more intervention for those that require suturing or further more defined medical assessment and treatment. And the back area is basically where we'll do further assessment and treatment for those that have been overconsumption of alcohol and any other illicit substances that may be on the ground at the time.
Although the strong message of safety might seem overbearing, its importance is crucial due to the possible consequences of some schoolies during the week.
I think the whole message is safety. If you are going to consume sensibly. If you don't normally do it on a regular basis, or you shouldn't be, don't do it. Now isn't the time to waste basically a decision you may make now may waste the rest of your career, or if the rest of your life if you inadvertently go the wrong way. I hope it's getting better. Each year we still treat a number of youth here, but we can only keep putting that message out and hopefully get through to those that are coming to schoolies and to the parents. Don't supply the alcohol. That's the biggest message we can put out there.
If there's a group of people who can get the safety message through to the schoolies, then it's the Red Frogs. Red Frogs are a support group who are an integral part of the schoolies' experience.
The Red Frogs team have been labelled the lifesavers on land and are available 24/7 across the entire week. Whether you need your room cleaned, some pancakes, or just a shoulder to cry on, they're here to help.
Yeah, the Red Frogs are like the icebreaker. They're like the tool we use to get into the parties, make sure everyone's okay, not doing anything silly over verandas, and getting them assistance if they need it.
Their impact is immeasurable, and their hard work is praised by emergency services and the schoolies themselves.
Yeah, we've got 850 volunteers over the 2 weeks of schoolies, and they all pay $300 to come down for 8 nights to do walk homes, make pancakes, and give out, of course, 7 tonnes of Red Frogs. So they're really committed to serving their mates.
The money volunteers pay to assist the Red Frogs is pumped directly back into the organisation and the work it does for the schoolies.
Look, it goes into paying for some of their accommodation. Obviously food's a big bill for us, and just kitting them up for the week. But we get a lot really looked after by hotels down here that make it a very cheap week really for 8 nights with all their food.
The group are known most for the Red Frogs they distribute, literally giving out tons of the lolly over the duration of the week.
Allen's came through in a big way, and we got 7 tonne donated to us, and then communities donated another couple of tonnes, so we're ready to go, ready to take on about 40,000 schoolies down here on the Gold Coast.
The 24-hour call centre keeps the schoolies connected with the Red Frogs, providing assistance wherever needed.
Yeah, we get a lot of calls from mums and dads that are concerned about little Johnny, checking into the building, and they give us a few tip-offs so we can go make them pancakes, but we don't tell them mum and dad sent us. That'd be pretty uncool.
The volunteers are the lifeblood of the Red Frogs. Although hard work, the experience is not only rewarding, but priceless.
It's heaps of fun. It's great fun. We're like the official party crashers, so you just go party to party, giving out 7 tons of red frogs, make a heap of pancakes, but it's sort of, you know, make sure we're in the rooms, making sure they're safe, not doing anything stupid. The designated sober blokes, you can't have enough of them during schoolies week. You know, there's so much that can go wrong if you're on the drink, and you really do need some, you know, sober people around you.
Red frogs are not only present at Surfers Paradise during Schoolies Week, they're at many different locations across Australia, and for the first time this year, they're in Bali.
We're 15 locations around Australia, including Bali this year, because a lot of Queenslanders go to Bali, so we've got a team of 20 heading to Bali for the first time this year. Yeah, red frogs in Bali's first year. I think there's about 3,000 get over there. We've got a team of 20 just kicking it off, and yeah, that's going to be really quite a different scenario. You don't have the same infrastructure here, like with your police, ambulance, triage and all the support you get here, so it's really up to the froggers and the local community to help them out.
Overall, the role the Red Frogs play is second to none and is now a staple in the Schoolies experience.
The main message for this year's Schoolies is just to be safe.
Within a matter of hours, this street will be packed with young school leavers ready to party.
But with ongoing repair work down the street, the question remains, will Cavill be ready?
Well, we certainly hope that Cavill Avenue was ready for the onslaught of school leavers. Every year we seem to hear these terrible stories, these terrible statistics about arrests and, God forbid, people falling out of balconies. Have you had any info on what's happening in the first couple of days of schoolies?
As a matter of fact, I do, Anna, and there has been quite a number of arrests. However, police in general are very pleased with the way schoolies have acted for the first weekend. Overnight, 19 schoolies were arrested on 20 charges. 10 of them were drug-related. That was made up of 15 males and 4 females. They also issued 86 liquor infringements, which brings the total to about 43 arrests so far for schoolies. And that's actually below what the figure was last year, so 10 below. So police in general, I guess, guys, are happy with the way they're performing, so it's good to see.
That's good to hear, and it's good to hear that our school leavers are being sensible as well as having a really good time. We're going to head to a break, but when we're back we'll be talking about that wild weather that hit Brisbane over the weekend and whether we've got some more positive weather to look forward in the next week. Don't go away. Welcome back. Well, we'll be talking to Connor again now to hear about some of those headlines in sport. What have you got for us today, Connor?
Thanks, guys. Well, Bribie Island has played host to the finals of the Australian Brim tournament over the weekend. The poor weather conditions made for some hard fishing, but Heath Blake managed to catch 14 brim, weighing in at 7.22 kilograms to win the competition. Second place went to Steve Eldred, who also caught 14 fish, with a total of 6.37 kilograms. Dean Pateman came in third with 5.82 kilos. These fish were weighed before being released back into the water. Teenage recruits are taking the world croquet scene by storm. Australia #1 and world #2 player, 19-year-old Robert Fletcher, takes on the Australian Croquet Championships in Brisbane this week. Queensland Croquet Association President Doug Williams says the sport combines the exercise of golf, the eye-hand coordination of snooker, and the tactics of chess. Spectators young and old are welcome at Toombul and Windsor croquet clubs. South Sydney NRL club, the Rabbitohs, is set to lose co-owner Russell Crowe after next season. Crowe has been a part owner of the South since 2006 and is said to have an estimated $11 million in the club, together with co-owner Peter Holmes. It is believed the decision comes as Crowe is trying to simplify his life. However, the official verdict will come today in Sydney at a Rabbitohs media conference. In cricket, Brendale spinner Cameron Boyce has signed with the Adelaide Strikers for the 2012-13 T20 Big Bash League. Boyce will join Queensland Bulls teammates Nathan Reardon and Michael Nesser in the Strikers squad. He says he's excited to be a part of this year's T20 with the Strikers and can't wait to get down there. Queenslander Adam Scott defeated defending champion Ian Poulter to win his first Australian Golf Masters title on Sunday. Scott battled it out with the Englishman, making a birdie on the last hole to win by 4 shots. Scott said he grew up watching the Masters, so the win was a long time coming. The gold jacket and trophy was something he had admired since he was a child. In local cricket news, Toombul have smashed the Norths by a 10-wicket win at the Ian Healy Oval on Saturday. Toombul still remain the undefeated leaders at the top of the leader ladder, despite North's batsman Dom Michael showing promise in the Queensland Academy of Sports Figures League. The Wallabies have made a terrific comeback from a devastating loss against France, beating England 20-14 last night. Although they entered half-time by 3 points, Berwick Barnes managed to convert 4 penalty goals, stopping England in their tracks. This brings the Cook Cup home for the first time in 3 years, but also shows the strength of the side ahead of the 2013 British and Irish Lions tour. After their last defeat, the Brisbane Roar didn't disappoint on Friday night, scoring a much-needed win against Sydney FC. The crowd at Suncorp witnessed 4 goals by the Roar against Sydney's 2, enough to lift the two-time champions off the bottom of the leaderboard. This is Sydney's 3rd loss in a row and has only made things worse after losing their coach earlier the week. Gold medalists Alicia Coots and Tom Slingsby have been awarded the Shared Athlete of the Year title on Friday, beating out many amazing Australian athletes, including cyclist Anna Mears and Paralympic swimmer Ellie Cole. The swimmer and sailor have each earned many titles and are truly at the top of their sport. Well, that's all we have time for sport today, guys. It's really good to see all the local sort of Brisbane events happening around.
It's great to hear about some of those sports that people might be not as aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to hear a good Brim-centric story. Don't hear enough of those in the news.
Exactly. Are you much of a fisherman, Anna?
Not really. I've been once. My big brother took me, and the only thing I've ever caught is a crab.
See, I think that's really impressive.
I do too. Maybe I should go again. But more importantly, we'll go down to Beck for a full report on the storms that have been hitting Brisbane over the weekend. There's been some terrible damage around the city.
Thank you. Wild weather has struck the southeast over the weekend. The clean-up begins this morning on the widespread damage to homes, businesses and roads. The first storm began on Saturday, hitting Brisbane at around 10:30 a.m, with the Brisbane CBD being the worst affected. Destructive 90-km/h winds smashed windows in high-rise buildings, with large pieces of glass flying from as high as the 24th floor at the Park Regis North Quay. A ceiling caved in at the Rendezvous Hotel on Ann Street. The Kelvin Grove markets were left in tatters, with stalls being thrown around through the air and attendants having only seconds to run for cover. Later in the evening, a second supercell hit the southeast. 22,000 lightning strikes were recorded and it left almost 33,000 homes without power. Localised flooding closed roads in the city, halted public transport and grounded flights. Motorists on the Centenary Highway had to drive through floodwaters, supervised by authorities, though the road was not closed. Late yesterday, storms rolled in again through the southeast, with the Brisbane and Ipswich the worst affected. This time bringing with it hailstones larger than golf balls and turning backyards into what looked more like snowfields. Houses flooded in a matter of minutes, car windscreens smashed, and trees were uprooted in seconds, damaging power lines. More power outages occurred. The Harvest Music Festival had to be evacuated so revellers could seek shelter from the hail. Meanwhile, the Bureau of Meteorology have come under fire for giving insufficient warnings about Saturday's storms. Locals took to social media showing their disgrace at the service, with Ipswich councillor Paul Tully accusing them of being asleep on the job and demanding an apology. The Bureau's Regional Director, Rob Webb, said that storms of this type are very difficult to predict in nature. Residents can subscribe to the Council's free early warning alert service to receive severe weather alerts specific to their area at www.brisbane.queensland.gov.au/be-prepared. That's all from me today, and now back to you.
Thanks, Beck.
Well, there certainly was some terrible damage happening around Brisbane yesterday. Were you hit at all, Miles?
I was. Yeah, we have a few broken windows I'll be dealing with after I head off here. Yeah, and I think my neighbour thought my car had been damaged before realising that my car looked like that before the storm. So that was unfortunate.
Okay, well, maybe you could try and claim some hail damage. See, is you
I
insured
don't think we
for
should
that?
admit to
No,
that on
don't
television.
put it out there on TV. Forget what I said, a race, a race.
But fortunately, the weather's looking a bit better this weekend, and we've got some exciting things happening in Brisbane. I'm particularly looking forward to the BIF International Film Festival.
Yes, the Brisbane International Film Festival. I'm really looking forward to that too. Are you getting along to it?
I am. I'm going to head along to see Anna Karenina on Sunday night on a date
Yes.
with my mum.
Oh, with your mummy. That's lovely.
To
That's
celebrate her
very
finishing doing
sweet.
her report cards.
Oh,
so
she's
it
still
should
at school, is she?
She is. As a teacher, will you be
As a
heading along as
teacher.
well?
I am actually. I will also be heading to Anna Karenina. I'm very excited to see it. I love the book. And if you are wanting to see it, Brisbane has been very lucky this year because Anna Karenina is actually not officially released until early next year.
Yeah,
but
so it'll be-
it's featuring at the film festival.
It'll be a
So
good event. Connor, did you volunteer at the festival as well?
Yeah, I actually volunteered at the festival last year, and it's a really awesome festival. I guess just putting Brisbane on the map in the movie world. You know, having the resources here to be able to do that, I think is great. So definitely get along to it.
Sounds great. And for all those schoolies who are celebrating over in Bali as well, it sounds like they're having a bit more, more fun than we are.
I was thinking about that. I'm having fun. I'm having fun, but I was thinking about that. Maybe that's why some of the statistics are on the improve because what is it, 30 or 20,000? Thousands in Bali this year. And they certainly seem to be having a wild time. There's some photos floating around in the media this morning that...
Yeah,
God, I wouldn't want my parents to see those.
Of course, Andy did say in the Schoolies story that this year was the first year they actually sent red frogs to Bali. So I guess if it is sort of on the influx and could see similar numbers to the Gold Coast, it's definitely... Because I think it's the infrastructure over there, police-wise, is just not up to par.
And it's a lot cheaper, which I think
safety
is
is just not,
And it's great to see now that the red frogs will be there. It'll certainly be a lot safer. Well, we've got some great interviews coming up this week.
Yes.
Tomorrow we have with us Michael Lund from the Courier Mail to talk about daylight saving. So we'll be looking forward to that. So make sure you tune in tomorrow at the same time. We'll see you then.